Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Now in today's video, guys, I'm going to be going over the major changes to both Evil Dead D game and Dead by Daylight. And at the end of this, I'm going to be telling you my thoughts on both of them. Well, I guess I'll go over one of them, tell you my thoughts, and then go over the other one, and then give you just a general consensus of what I think about both, and you know, what's the future of these two games as well, because I've been talking about the competition between these two games. There's a very, very clear competition that's going on, and it just kind of feels like nobody's really talking about this, but you can kind of tell the little bit of competition that is going on because of the release of this game, and well, I should say Evil Dead the game, and how it's kind of affected what the developers of Dead by Daylight are deciding to do now, and now they are really, really pushing it with some of the changes and stuff like that. I have a lot to unpack in this. You thought the developer update from October of last year was big. This is even more massive. It is going over some core issues. That is something that we don't get very often in some of the developer updates. And then we have our first balance patch for Evil Dead the game, so I'm going to be going over that first, and then the Dead by Daylight developer update. Stay tuned for this, guys. It's going to be a long video, but first I do have just a couple of announcements to make. So for the next videos besides this one coming up are going to be two tier lists. It is going to be the 2021 movies I saw ranked on a tier list, just to basically cover up all of the movie reviews I missed, because if you did not hear on the community post, I posted that all the movie reviews are going to be for new releases now. So every time I watch a new movie, I will do a movie review on it for you guys, and that'll just make it a lot easier. And in the community post, I also announced that with that new release, let's say the new Fast and Furious movie comes along, then I will probably review all of the Fast and Furious movies before I get to the reviewing the new release or whatever. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the upcoming videos. Other than that, stay tuned, read the community post so that you can stay updated. I definitely want to stay updated. There's going to be a few things that I'm going to have to accommodate for, because I will be getting my surgery likely sometime next month. I haven't found the exact date yet, so I'm going to be figuring out what I can upload in the meantime so I can get you guys some content out while I am not able to really record and talk and stuff like that. So other than that, yeah, stay tuned, read the community post, and join the Discord. Link is in the About section of the YouTube channel, and that's it. Let's go over these patch notes. So let me make sure I mute both of these sites so that I don't have any ads making noise, because that actually happened one time. Don't want that to happen again. So here we go. Saber Interactive rolled out a balance update on June 20th. The latest patch carries a number of balance changes, including amendments to character abilities, skill adjustments, and a few general changes. Alright, so this is their very first balance update that they released. Let's get into it. This is going to be a lot shorter than the Dead by Daylight one, obviously, because it's their first one. But they still have a lot that they went over. So, general Hunter stamina regeneration changed from 35 stamina points per second to 20 stamina points per second. So I've actually already gone through both of these, but I haven't really gotten a clear understanding on both of these yet. I just kind of got like a skim through it. So this is still kind of a fresh reaction, by the way, guys. So don't worry about that. I'm going to tell you my thoughts once I get done with this whole section. Revive from bleeding out state time changed from 3 seconds to 4 seconds. Okay. Stamina upgrade level 4. Stamina cost reduction percent changed from 50% to 40%. Boss headshot damage multiplier to Hendrita changed from 1.5 to 1.25. Headshot damage multiplier. Okay, so they changed some of the headshot damages to the boss, all of the boss demons in the game, and then it looks like they're kind of nerfing the hunters a little bit as well. So I like these changes. The hunters at least until this update were the most powerful survivor type. You could basically go on a 1v1 with the demon and take them on a run for basically the whole game while your other teammates are harassing the Kandarian Dagger and the Necronomicon. So this is a good change. I like this. And then the headshot damage. I haven't played enough of the game to get really, really good with, fighting the bosses and stuff like that, so I don't know how much this is going to affect the game, but, I'm fine with this. I'm pretty sure this is a good change. And then character abilities, Leader Ash, aura range bonus damage changed to 10% from 50%, so they buffed the aura range. And then Annie, aura bonus range damage changed from 10% to 25%, so they're buffing those numbers. Lord Arthur, the Lord's Wrath melee bonus damage changed from 30% to 20%, so they brought it down a little bit, because some of the warlords as well are pretty powerful too, and they can just instantly destroy some of your basic units and stuff like that. So I'm okay with this. Shield Blast, shield damage explosion changed from 200 to 125. Warrior Ash, his Wiseman's Potion duration changed from 25 seconds to 20 seconds. Cooldown changed from 60 to 80. Damage reduction changed from 50 to 30. Hunter Ash Exorcist cooldown changed from 60 to 90. Infernal Energy reduction percent changed from 15% to 20%. Ed Gatley, It's a Trap cooldown changed from 60 to 90 seconds. Okay, this is the one where I have to stop and think about it, because Ed is one of the worst well, I guess not one of the worst survivors. He is a hunter, but his I guess a unique power is one of the not better ones, I guess. You have to be smart with using it. It basically reveals the auras of the traps within a certain range. So 60 seconds to 90 seconds, I don't know how I like that. I guess it kind of makes sense, because traps are one of the main ways that you catch survivors, start scaring them, and start harassing them and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't really like this change. A whole 30-second difference. I don't know how I like that. And then the Collector increased the probability to find higher rarity loot boxes. Okay, so I guess they kind of did, they did a trade. They did kind of a trade for them, increase the cooldown, but also you have a higher probability of finding better loot boxes. So I guess that's a good trade. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't play Ed a whole lot, but yeah. Kelly, Battle Frenzy buff stack changed from 2% to 1%, and then Cheryl, Healing Area when drinking range changed from 6 meters to 5 meters. That is really good, because also, the healer's a little bit overpowered sometimes as well. I mean, you could literally be in the middle of the battle, and then one of the healing survivors goes off to the side, drinks their potion, and then they heal up the whole team, and there's, nothing the demons can do about it. That is really, really crushing when that happens. It's happened to me many, many times, so I'm glad that they did that change. I'm glad that they changed the Warlords and the Hunters as well. I think their numbers are sometimes a little bit too extreme. I mean, there is a huge difference between, obviously, let me just give you an example. A Hunter, obviously, does not have very good melee damage, but has good gun damage, and the difference is very, very big. So they're kind of reducing that margin to make it a little bit more fair, which I do like. I think there should still be a wide margin to dissuade Hunters from using melee weapons and Warlords from using ballistic weapons. But I think it was a little bit too overpowered sometimes, so I like that. And then skills. Last Chance, level 1 changed from 10% to 5%, so they're changing some of the perks and stuff like that, basically. Level 2 changed from 15% to 10%, level 3 changed from 20 to 15, and 4, 30 to 20. Deadly Up Close, 15 to 10, and then level 3 changed from 25 to 20. Staying Power, level 3 changed from 25% to 15%. Kandarian Demon. Okay, so the perks... Again, I haven't been playing the game enough to know how much this would affect it, but I'm guessing these perks in particular are the much stronger perks, in which I'm fine with them changing the numbers. So, yeah, no problems with that. And then the Kandarian Demon General Infernal Energy Regeneration changed from 15 points per second to 20 points per second during the Necronomicon phase. Skeleton Elite Arms Health were changed from 100 to 200. So they're increasing the Skeletal Elite's health, basically. Possession level 5, extra health of possessed units changed from 40 to 50%. Possessed Survivor Headshot bonus multiplier. Multiplier. Oh my god, why did I say multiplier? Multiplier, sorry guys. Multiplier. Yes, multiplier. I keep messing that up. I'm sorry, guys. Multiplier. There we go. To other survivor changed from 1.7 to 1.2. Possessed elite deadite health changed from 2,800 to 3,000. Possessed elite skeleton health changed from 2,000 to 2,250. Sorry, I'm kind of trying to skim through it. That's why I keep messing up. Possessed berserker health changed from 1,300 to 1,500. Car possession maintain energy cost changed from 0.5 to 0.3. Car possession energy cost changed from 100 to 60. This is one that I definitely do understand. I want to stop and talk about this one. Car possession is just really not that useful, if I'm going to be honest. The only time where car possession kind of makes sense is if the survivors are on their way to a certain location and you kind of want to stop them and harass them a little bit. But using cars to kind of try to, cause damage and stuff like that is pretty useless. It's really, really easy to knock you out of possession from the car, and it just costs way too much energy for it to be worth it. So I definitely understand this change. And then increase arms dismemberment resistance for the elite skeletons. Okay, so yeah, I like everything that's here. They're kind of buffing the elites while nerfing the, well, at least I heard, they're buffing the elites while kind of nerfing the basic units, because that's what a lot of demons are doing right now, is just spawning a bunch of basic units and harassing the survivors, and they can actually get pretty far with just the basic units, so it doesn't really seem that much fair. And then onto the Warlord category. Possessed Deadites stun time change from 1.5 to 1 second, Elite 1.5 to 1 second, Boss from 2 to 1.5. Possessed Deadites balance bar changes. Basic from 300 to 400, Elite from 525 to 625, and then Boss from 800 to 900. I like these changes as well. Yeah, I've been playing a lot of the Necromancer. I haven't been playing a lot of the Warlord, so I'm not too sure about this, and I really don't see a lot of people play Warlord either, so I'm not really too sure about how good this is, but I definitely agree with the stun time changes. Puppeteer, Possessed Deadites stun time changes, basic from 2 seconds to 1.5, Elite 2.5 to 1.5, and then Deadites balance bar changes 230 to 330 for basic, and then for Elite 450 to 550. Then for the Necromancer, this is the one where hopefully I'll understand it a little bit more. Possessed Deadite stun time changes, basic from 1.5 to 1 second, 2 to 1.5, and then Boss 2 to 1.5. Possessed Deadites balance bar changes, basic from 350 to 400, Elite from 500 to 550, and then Boss from 700 to 800, and that is all the changes that came with it. Overall, I do like these changes, especially the changes to the Hunter, Healing, and Warlord categories. I think they might have buffed... Yeah, they did. Is Kelly a leader? I believe she is, right? So, I believe they buffed, I'm not sure. It says buff X stat change from 2% to 1%. I'm not sure. I think from what I heard is that they buff some of Leader Ash. Yeah, so I do like these changes overall. The leader category was one of the lesser used categories, and people just abuse the Hunter, Healing, and Warlord categories. So I do like this. They're kind of balancing out the different categories, making them a lot more fair than they were, because I think that did get a little bit overpowered at some points. And then I do like the changes for the Demon, but more importantly, the changes to the Survivors I think were definitely a lot more needed. But overall, like everything here, there's nothing that I really dislike or anything like that, and a great start for Evil Dead the game for their first update. Now, we get on to the much, much longer Dead by Daylight developer update, which I will probably understand a lot more. But overall, Evil Dead, pretty good start for their update. Yeah, not really any issues with that. So, yeah, now on to the Dead by Daylight developer update for June 2022, which is presumably going to be released sometime in July on the PTB, and there is a lot to unpack. I mean, let me just show you, scrolling down, and look at all of the perk changes that they did. Just look at this. Oh my god. This is so exciting. I love this. So, yeah, let's just get unpacked. During our 6th anniversary broadcast, we announced blah, 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 blah. In this post, we will be detailing the upcoming changes, all of which will be blah, 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 blah. First thing, overhauled progression system. Collecting all the perks has been an important goal for many players. However, since both the numbers of perks and characters are constantly increasing, the grind expands at an exponential rate with every new chapter. That is correct. I've been playing the game for almost 3 years, And I would say the only thing really holding me back from being able to really start to progress in the game. Don't get me wrong, I've definitely progressed in terms of the grind a lot. From the start of the game, and I'm starting to catch up a lot better and stuff like that. But I'm afraid I'm probably going to be at a standstill just because I'm really in favor of using the blood points on Killer more than Survivor. And so that's really slowed me down in terms of especially getting progression on Survivor, but even still Killer. Still struggling to get all the killers to Prestige 3 level 50, and I am really glad that they finally made these changes so that I can actually get caught up, and I don't have to worry about falling really, really behind on the grind and everything like that every time a new chapter releases, because not everybody has time to be on this game 24/7. Not everybody's a Twitch streamer who, streams 6 times a week. Not everybody's like that with this game, so I'm really, really happy that they changed the grind up. And, so yeah, they said to address this, we're completely overhauling the way perks are earned, adding new rewards, and making completion easier than before. Comparison. In the current system, you must reach level 40 on a given character to unlock all their teachable perks, then find those perks in their blood webs of every other character. Now, in order to unlock all the new perks on every character by the time next chapter releases, you would need to play an estimated average of 4.1... Oh, okay, they're still using the old version as an example. You need to play an estimated average of 4.1 hours every day. With this new system, that estimate decreases to an average of 1.01 hours each day. And that's not even factoring in blood point bonuses from events, perks, or offerings. This is really, really good. Like I said, not everybody has time to play this game, a good couple of hours every day. Some people, they got work, they got other stuff that they want to do and things like that, and this is really good. Now only devoting to, only needing to play an hour a day, which, even then, obviously you're not going to be able to come on the game every single day, no matter how little time they want you to play on it. It's like with Duolingo, and they want you to spend 5 minutes, doing their lesson every day and stuff like that. With this, you don't even have to, play every day to get, catch up and everything like that. Now, you could have one day where you're off work or, you don't have anything to do, and you play the game for a good 5 hours or stuff like that, and you're pretty much caught up for the most part. So I really like this. In other words, this is the single largest reduction to the grind we've ever made, cutting it by roughly 75%. I'm not going to question their numbers. I'm not one of those people who are picky with the devs' numbers and stuff like that. I know other people are, but I'm not super picky with the developers' numbers and stuff like that. All I can say is this is a definite, really, really great change. 4.1 to 1.01, that is really, really good. So, yeah, no issues with that. So they changed the, how you unlock the perks. The teachable rarity is no more. Now perks are tied directly to prestige. Prestiging a character for the first time will instantly unlock the Tier 1 versions of their unique perks for all other killers or survivors, making them immediately available for use without ever opening the blood web. Prestiging a character for the second and third time will unlock the Tier 2 and 3 versions. So what I'm hoping is, and it says alternatively higher tier versions of their perks will appear randomly in blood webs once the first tier has been unlocked. Higher tier versions of their perks will appear randomly in blood webs once the first tier has been unlocked. I'm kind of confused. Okay. It says, okay, prestiging... I'm a little bit confused with this part. It says, prestiging a character for the second and third time will unlock the Tier 2 and 3 versions of their unique perks. Tier 1 versions of their perks, unique perks for all of their... Okay, so basically, it unlocks all of the Tier 1 versions of their perks, and it automatically goes into their loadout. They can use that perk. But for Tier 2 and 3, instead, you find them in the blood web. In Tier 2 and 3 automatically. And it could be random. Like, you could get lucky and you could find the Tier 3 without having to prestige them to Tier 2 or to Prestige 2. Okay, so I like this. I thought originally it was you just prestige to 2 and then you unlock this, the Tier 2 and then you prestige to Tier 3. Or you prestige the 3 and then they get Tier 3. Yeah, I still like this. I'm more glad that they did it just for tier 1 than for all of them, just so that it isn't really, super easy. But giving them a head start with tier 1 and being able to unlock all the perks, at least not all at tier 3 right away, but at least having them all of the perks to start out, that's a good change already. So I like that. Say you prestige the Trapper, this will instantly unlock Tier 1 versions of Agitation, Brutal Strength, and Unnerving Presence on all other killers. Tier 2 and 3 versions of these perks will now appear randomly in the Blood Web. Prestiging the Trapper again will make Tier 2 versions of these perks immediately available, and so on. This way, you only need to earn the perks once to use them on This way, you'll only need to earn the perks once to use them on every character. The perks you've unlocked will be instantly available on any new characters as well, making them easier to pick up and play with without a substantial blood point investment. So I like this. But the bigger part of this that I really, really like is the no more resets. Oh my god. You know how much I hated resets just because the main thing was trying to keep offerings and stuff like that I really liked. I love this change. I just hated resets. This was the biggest reason why people did not want to prestige, is because there was what do you reset your character, you start out from ground zero again to get a bloody cosmetic that doesn't even look that good depending on the killer and survivor that you're playing. This is really, really great. I love this especially for just being able to keep some unique offerings that are only limited time and stuff like that, like the event offerings and stuff like that. I like getting a crap ton of them and keeping them on my character, and for a while I was just like, what am I going to do with all of these event offerings that I don't really want to use up right away and save them for, future events and stuff like that? What am I going to do with all of them if my killer is only at Prestige 2 and I feel obligated to prestige him to 3, but I'm going to lose all those offerings? Like, what do I do? This, now no longer I have to worry about that. So I really, really like this change. Yeah, with no reason. It says prestiging has always been a bit of a dilemma. Do you give up everything for bragging rights, or do you keep what you have to minimize the grind? Now that prestiging is the main way to unlock perks, we wanted to make the choice clear. Prestiging a character will no longer remove their perks, items, add-ons, or offerings. Perk slots will also remain unlocked after prestiging. With no reason not to prestige, prestiging a character is no longer optional. After reaching level 50, you'll receive a special blood lab with only a single node. Purchasing this node will increase your prestige level and reset your character's level to 1. I love this change. This is, again, probably the most favorite change out of, we haven't even got to all of the other stuff yet. But this right here is my most favorite change. No question about it. And then it says expanded prestige. With prestige now being the main way to progress, it'll no longer be as impressive to have your characters maxed out at prestige level 3. It only made sense to have a new way to recognize our most committed players. So we've increased the prestige limit to 100. But what would more prestige levels be without rewards? Reaching prestige levels 4, 5, and 6 will now award the character's bloody prestige cosmetics, once again signifying those who went above and beyond. And now that prestiging for the first 3 times awards perks, it only made sense to move these higher. If you've already unlocked these cosmetics, don't worry, we won't be taking them away for you. Yeah, you better not, because I had... Prestige 3 level 50 tap. Yeah, you're not taking away my bloody skins from that. I devoted so much time to getting him to Prestige 3 level 50. He was the first character that I did that on, so yeah, it's definitely a signifier of my dedication to that, so I'm glad that they didn't do that. For the completion list, Prestige levels 7, 8, and 9 will each grant one of the character's unique perks as a charm. We also wanted to highlight your dedication to your favorite characters no matter how many times you prestige them. Once a trial is over, your prestige level will now be shown in the space previously occupied, so you basically get to brag about how many prestige tiers you've gone through. Yeah, I like this. I like bragging sometimes. I'm not a huge competitive person, but it's kind of nice to brag sometimes about how much time you've spent in this game, so I really do like this change. And the whole perk charms, I like that too. Because, especially legacy characters who don't really get Rift, who don't really get rifts devoted to their lore and stuff like that. Now it gives me a charm related to them that I can put on them without, having to put on random other charms that don't have any relation to them. So I like this. At least for me. This is personally good for me. It's just a really good personalizer for me. So, yeah, personalizer. I don't know what I was saying there, but this is really exciting. Shrine of Secrets. I don't really care about the Shrine of Secrets, but I'm just going to go over it because I can't even remember what they did. Unlike before, where the Shrine of Secrets would offer teachable perks that then needed to be found in blood webs, the Shrine will now allow you to purchase perks directly. Purchasing a perk through the Shrine of Secrets will make the Tier 1 version of it immediately available on all killers or survivors, much like Prestige. Subsequent tiers of that perk will also begin appearing in blood webs. You may also purchase a perk again to increase its tier. This works seamlessly with the new prestige system as purchasing a perk you've already unlocked through prestige will instead increase its tier. I don't really understand what just got thrown at me, but I don't care about Shrine of Secrets, so I don't really care. If you understood that, there you go. I just told you what it is, but I didn't really understand that. And I don't really care because it's Shrine of Secrets. I think I just didn't understand it because I don't care. So, yeah, I'm glad they're changing it because, some people don't want to pay money for the... I get it. Some people don't want to pay money for the... how do you want to say it? The licensed chapters. I get it. And, you gotta get some way to get those teachable perks, so I understand. Transitioning to the new system, with many spending hundreds, if not thousands of hours playing Dead by Daylight over the years, we want to make sure that everyone is rewarded fairly. When the system releases, we'll be automatically awarding existing players an appropriate number of prestige levels based on how many perk tiers they've unlocked. If you've left all your characters at level 50 and focused on unlocking perks, your work won't be for nothing. It is important that you don't lose anything when the system is updated. You will keep any perks and bloody prestige cosmetics that you've already unlocked. Those who reach Prestige 3 before the update will receive a special prestige icon to recognize their achievements and commemorate the perks and add-ons they lost in the process. We'll be hosting a live stream soon to show the updated... Wow, I really, really like this. I mean, for me... This is really great. I mean, this is going to be kind of a brag to newer players who didn't get to be in the game before this, where the grind is much, much more difficult than it will be. Man, I really love how they're awarding us for all of the hard work and time and blood points that we had to spend doing this, the sacrifices that we had to make. I love this. I'm so glad that they are doing this. Wow. I really, really love this. Yeah. And even for people who stuck at level 50 and didn't want to have to lose everything, even I totally understood people who were like that, and they're rewarding them as well. I really love this. Matchmaking incentives. Now, I don't really have to go through all of this, but basically what they're doing, I'm not going to read this whole thing. This is the one that I probably understand the most and don't really need to read through it all to understand. Basically, what they're doing is they're giving more blood points to killer or survivor, depending on if there are more survivors being played or more killers being played. So if you're playing killer, and it turns out there's not a lot of killers being played at the moment, then you get extra blood points. I like this. Obviously, it helps with the grind, but also I do like this just to know, oh, wow, there's not a lot of killers playing right now, or, oh, wow, there's not a lot of survivors playing now. So it's kind of like an aha moment. I like that. I like, knowing, what exactly is going on in the game, what side is playing more at the time. So I like this. This is a great way to incentivize, more players from the other side to play that side and kind of balance things out. So it overall will, it overall could reduce the matchmaking times, the queue times and all that good stuff. So I like this. And just more blood points. More blood points is always a good thing. Gameplay updates. This is where we get on to the serious stuff. Enough with the blood points and all that stuff. Now we are getting into the actual gameplay. Some of the most consistent feedback we receive centers around the perk meta. A handful of perks have a dominant usage rate, especially in higher skill matches. Naturally, the gameplay can feel stale when you see the same perks again and again. In the past, we've addressed individual perks through various updates, but the odd meta change is not enough to shake things up. In this update, we are reworking and rebalancing 39 perks, meta included. We aim to reduce the reliance on the current meta while also providing many new options to experiment with. Before we can make meaningful changes to the meta, we need to look at why these perks are so heavily used in the first place. While some perks are popular because of their strength, others are popular because they reduce the likelihood of an unfun situation. Therefore, we've prepared a few baseline changes to address some of these core gameplay issues. Now, I've looked over this, and there are a few things that I don't like. There's a few things that I like. I'm a little bit scared of some of these changes, but I guess we'll see how it goes in the PTB and all that. That's why they make the PTB. We'll see how it goes. But I'm still a little bit scared. I hate when they give us like small updates and stuff like that. But also when they give us big updates, I'm a little bit afraid they go too far sometimes. But hey, at least they're going ambitious and they're not being lazy about it. So I'm glad that they're doing this, because they don't do this kind of stuff very often. So I guess these okay. Here we go. Generator speeds. This is... Okay, when looking at the perks most used by killers, they are slowdown perks. Corrupt Intervention, Pop Goes the Weasels. Sorry, guys. Pain Resonance, and Ruin. Many players feel like generators are powered too quickly without these perks, so we knew we needed to look at generators before making any perk changes. Slowdown perks should be an option, but not the only option to stay competitive. I agree with that. First, we have increased the time it takes to power a generator to 90 seconds from 80 seconds. So, essentially, this is going to add 50 extra seconds that they have to repair generators, considering you don't interrupt it or anything like that. But that can contribute to at least an extra minute that the survivors have to be that the survivors have to be working on generators. I like this. But I don't like this. I was more that kind of person that was more into them making generators more interactive than just straight up increasing the amount of time that it takes to repair a generator. Because when you do that, then it just makes something that people already do not like to do take even longer. So, although this is good for balancing, I don't think this is good for the overall fun of the game. So, I hope in the future that eventually they make generators more interactive and more fun to do. Like, there's people out there who have been saying maybe you have to find a part and bring it to the generator and stuff like that, and that will automatically bump up the progress and stuff like that. Things like that, where, in that situation, you have to think, well, is the time investment worth it? Should I go grab this part and bring it back here? Would it be worth it to do that? Or should I just sit on the gen and, try to just power through it? Like, what should I do? I think that would be a better change to make generators more interactive, and while also making it a lot more balanced for both sides. So, I don't know. I don't know exactly how I feel about this, but definitely, there are definitely times where I will agree. There are definitely times, I'm not one of those people who are always like, you stupid gen rushers and things like that, but there are definitely times where on certain maps, on certain killers, there's almost nothing you can do against super, super efficient survivors who just sit on generators. And that really, really sucks. So, yeah, I do like this for the overall balancing, but I hope in the future they go even more above and beyond with making it more fun. And then it says, second, kicking a generator will now instantly remove 2.5% of the maximum progress. This change makes kicking generators more meaningful, even if a survivor stops it from regressing shortly after. Additionally, survivors must now decide whether they should tap a generator to prevent regression, as this allows the killer to kick it again and knock off even more progress. With these two changes, we hope to reduce the reliance on passive slowdown mechanics and promote increased interaction between killers and survivors. I like this change. I know some people have said that still the time investment is not worth it for kicking a generator. I think even before this change, there is definitely times where kicking a generator is worth it. Let's say you have a generator that is above 50% progress, because usually this is where people are like, okay, now it's worth it to kick a generator. And you don't see any survivors around, and let's say in one scenario you don't do any, you don't interact with the generator at all. You're like, you know what, I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not going to kick this generator. I'm just going to ignore it. I don't think anybody's going to come back to it. And then all of the generators except for one gets popped. There's down to one generator, and because you didn't kick that generator, they finish it and take advantage of the fact that there's 50% progress on it, and they can easily finish it quicker than all the other generators that don't have any progress. And then in a different scenario, you kick that generator, at the same time that you decided you weren't going to kick it, and the survivors don't come back to that generator until the very end of the game where they have to get one more generator done. That, I think, is a good reason to kick a generator, but now it gives you even more of an incentive in situations where even the generator doesn't have a lot of progress, so I like this. And also, like they said, it makes survivors decide, is it worth it? And I like those kind of scenarios, so I like that change. I like that change more than I like the generator speed change, in fact. General killer improvements. The average kill rates, how many survivors are killed each trial on average, are a little lower than we'd like. Wow. Okay. We've reduced the time it takes to break walls and pallets by 10%, so they're giving you a brutal strength, tier 1, essentially. I like this. It's nothing super significant, don't worry about it. Instead of taking a little over 2.5 seconds, now it takes a little bit under 2.5 seconds, so I like this change. And pallets are definitely going to still be meaningful and stuff like that. Brutal strength has never been an overpowered perk for making it harder for survivors to get further away. So yeah, I like this change. Generators can also be kicked 10% faster than before. Now 1.8 seconds was 2 seconds. So now there's even more of an incentive to kick generators, so I like this. While these changes may seem small, a fraction of a second can be the difference between hitting a survivor and then them reaching a pallet. Next, we've reduced the cooldown for successful basic attacks by 10%. Now 2.7 from 3 seconds. Wow. 2 save the best for last stacks. That is... wow. And reduce the duration of the survivor's movement speed boost upon being hit by 10%. Now 1.8 seconds was 2 seconds. This is insane. Moving forward, survivors will gain slightly less distance upon being hit, making it more difficult for them to run along distances to a safe area. So let me think about this. If you hit a survivor and you went through your cooldown and and they dropped a pallet shortly after and then they ran away, that's a whole, let's see, that's like, let me think here, that's like a little, close to, over a second, but I believe maybe close to 2 seconds. I don't know. I can't do the math in my head, but overall, this is a pretty good change. It makes holding W strat a little bit less. How do you want to say it? Powerful. And yeah, I like that. Looping survivors is obviously a lot more fun and engaging than holding W, and this kind of dissuades the survivors from just constantly holding W, especially on maps where it's a lot easier to do that. So I like that. Finally, we've tweaked Bloodlust to increase it in power quicker than before. In most cases, Bloodlust does not activate though there are rare cases where it can be necessary. The long build-up often leaves the killer in a bad spot, even if they eventually get a hit. We're adjusting Bloodlust tiers to activate after 15, 25, 35 seconds of chasing rather than 15, 30, 45. As the first tier, Bloodlust has not changed. It will not be any more prevalent in the average chase. Bearing in mind the general improvements above, we expect Bloodlust will become even more uncommon outside of exceptional circumstances. Though slight, these changes affect every killer and have ramifications on the game. So this is good for balancing, beginner players, but for anybody else, this is not going to affect your gameplay at all. Don't worry about it. Good survivors, it's not going to affect your gameplay. It's not going to make your chases harder and stuff like that. This is just to kind of help the killers that are not as good as looping, the beginner killers, a little bit more. So I don't really care about Bloodlust because I'm a better killer and stuff like that, but good change for the beginners. And now onto the survivor changes, the survivor balancing changes to make it a better time for them. On the survivor side, there is a clear preference for perks that grant a second chance. Borrowed Time, Decisive Strike, Dead Hard. That's right. And perks on that nature help a survivor avoid certain death, leading to an extreme usage rate. A benefit of these second chance perks is how that they help prevent unfun situations, namely being camped or tunneled out of the game, repeatedly being targeted after being unhooked. In order to incentivize a meaningful change to the meta, it was clear that they needed to address these... Okay, blah, 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 blah. So it says, moving forward, survivors will receive a 5 seconds endurance effect after being unhooked. This gives the unhooked survivor an opportunity, blah, 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 blah. Additionally, the unhooked survivor will receive a 7% haste effect for 5 seconds. This will make them harder to catch. Okay. So what do I think about this off the bat? I don't know. Just knowing now, I'm not saying I tunnel a lot, right? But knowing now that in tough situations where you want to get at least 1 kill because you were in a really bad situation at the beginning of the game, and now that 1 kill may not be guaranteed anymore, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. There are certain endgame situations where camping a survivor or tunneling a survivor is the best thing you can do, and you just want to get a kill. And for people who not constantly using that strategy, I think this hurts them, and more than it helps the survivors who are always being complaining about being camped in the tunnel. Don't get me wrong, that's an issue in the game. I'll admit that. I'm not going to be one of those arrogant killer mains or anything like that. But this hurts those niche scenarios where you still have a chance to get that 1 kill, but now it reduces it by even more. But yeah, I'm afraid of these changes, but it's good for shaking up the meta. But at the same time, I don't know if I like it a whole lot. I don't know how I feel. It's a bit of a controversial game. I just have to see how it goes down in when I start playing with it. Both effects will be cancelled prematurely if the unhooked survivor does basically any action that may progress the game. Repairing a generator, healing yourself or others, cleansing or blessing a totem, sabotaging a hook, unhooking others, and opening an exit gate. With these base changes, we hope survivors can switch up their perk loadouts without fear that camping and tunneling will cut their match short. Meta perk changes. For this update, perk changes fall into one of 2 categories: meta perks that are used too often and non-meta perks that serve a similar purpose but aren't used as much. We understand that many of you have grown attached to your favorite perks and loadouts. Unfortunately, shaking up the meta inevitably leads to a few changes. Rest assured that our goal is to provide alternatives that align with your preferred playstyle while widening the scope to include more viable perk options. Yeah, this is really, really good. With all the perks that are being added to the game, it's really sad that the same 10 perks are the only ones being used. So I really, really do like this. Now, I can't really see all the numbers in this graph because it's a little bit blurry and stuff like that, but I guess it's showing like the most commonly used perks and things like that. It says there's Kindred on there, Iron Will, Dead Hard. Dead Hard's the most commonly used. I mean, look at how much it's increased throughout time. So yeah, basically showing the data. So yeah, now we get on to the last portion, and I have to go over all of these perks that are being changed. This is gonna be fun. How long has this recording been going? Almost 45 minutes. Okay. Here we go. Starting off with barbecue and chili. It's okay. I don't need to know what the current effect is. This perk is incredibly popular, not because it's particularly powerful, but because of the huge amount of blood points it provides. Choosing to go into a match without it massively slows your progression. We do not want blood points to be a driving factor behind perk choices, so we will be removing the blood point bonus. I'm okay with this perk. I'm okay with this change. I was never one of those people who used barbecue and chili for the blood points. I did actually use it for the information. Although I do kind of miss, having to hook all 4 survivors, that incentive to hook all 4 survivors to get the extra blood points. So I don't know. I don't think it's a horrible thing that survivors are how do you want to say it? That killers are getting more blood points from using a perk. I get it incentivizes them to use the perk more, especially for an already decent perk. But it's okay. They're basically saying that you don't need the extra blood points because of their new matchmaking incentive. So I'm okay with this change. It's not crushing or anything like that. Next up is Ruin. To bring Hex Ruin in line with other perks, we are reducing the regression speed to 50, 75, 100% from 100, 150, 200. This will reduce its power without destroying its primary appeal. After survivors killed, Hex Ruin will automatically deactivate. I don't think Hex Ruin was necessarily an overpowered perk. Even with Undying, good survivors are really, really good at eliminating those Hex totems pretty quickly. Even if you're on an indoor map, I don't think it's too much of an issue, so I think Hex Ruin will still be strong. But I don't think this was necessarily needed, just because Hex Perks, I think Hex Perks are the only ones that can get the excuse of being a little bit overpowered sometimes, because you can completely eliminate the perk if by, just cleansing a totem. So, I don't know, I'm not really a huge fan of this change, but it's alright. People are still going to run the perk, but I'm just not a huge fan of this change. Pop Goes the Weasel. Pop Goes the Weasel gives killers a controlled way to remove significant progress from a generator of their choosing. Giving that kick generator now removes 2.5% of its progress by default. We decide to tone down some numbers to compensate. This perk will now remove 20% of the generator's current, not total progress. This change will make Pop Goes the Weasel very effective and against generators that are nearly done, but weaker against those with small amount of progress. I like this change. Yeah, I would have never thought of this change. Initially, I thought of a different idea for changing Pop Goes the Weasel, which I already forgot, but I do like this change. Usually, there's, you never really wanted to waste Pop Goes the Weasel on a, smallly regressed, not very progressed generator, but now it incentivizes you even more to do it on well, I guess it's not as powerful on a much more, or a highly progressed generator, but I like this change. Pop Goes the Weasel definitely fell down in terms of use, I noticed after its small nerf about a year ago, but yeah, overall I like this change. No problems with it. I was getting a little bit confused with my thoughts on it, sorry guys, but yeah, I like that change. Corrupt Intervention. This perk makes the beginning of the match more manageable. Sorry guys, I'm struggling to talk because I've been talking for so long. Moving forward, the perk will deactivate once a survivor enters the dying state. We believe this change will keep Corrupt Intervention effective in helping the killer build early game pressure while providing a limit to its power. I think the good thing about Corrupt Intervention was the fact that you got to... It rewarded you, basically, for getting the ball rolling early. You didn't necessarily get the ball rolling early because you had this perk. It's just because you're a good killer. And so, with Corrupt Intervention, if you're a really good killer, you could get at least 2 downs, or, a down in the health state, before it deactivated, and that's, a really good, having this perk is a really good reward for that gameplay. So, I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of this, this change. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this change. It's still not going to be useless or anything like that. Obviously, it's going to help you in the early game a little bit, slow down those generators before you do get that, that first down. But I don't know. I liked Corrupt Intervention because it rewarded good killer play, in my opinion. Because if you run Corrupt Intervention, sure, you block 3 of the generators at the beginning of the game, but smart survivors will migrate to other areas, or they'll do side objectives in the same area, and if you don't get it down, then Corrupt Intervention essentially does nothing for you. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this change, but it'll still be a good perk. Tinker is a popular choice for the information it provides. Being able to prevent a generator from being powered is a game changer, particularly on killers with high mobility. It can, however, become a little oppressive when paired with certain regression perks. Therefore, Tinker can only activate once per generator, but with the base charges increased to 90, killers will have extra time to approach. I like this. Yeah, Tinker being able to activate several times per generator could basically make it impossible to finish generators, especially if you're in a 3-gen situation and Tinker is just constantly activating. Yeah, I really do like this change. This is the one that I have no problems with. Hex, no one escapes death. This perk makes for a very effective comeback tool, though it falls out of favor in high-skill games. We like the way Noed encourages survivors to preemptively cleanse totems, so we are not looking to weaken its direct strength. Instead, survivors will now see the Hex totem's aura within 4 meters upon activation. This range increases to 24 meters over the course of 30 seconds. We believe this change will keep Noed a strong choice for endgame builds, while encouraging survivors to find the totem and attempt the last second save. Again, I'm not a huge fan of this change. Most good survivors can find the Noed totem pretty quick. At least from my games. It feels like whenever I play, it's one of those situations where whenever I play Survivor, I can never find the no-hit totem, but whenever I play Killer, they find it right away. So I don't know. I don't know. It's a controversial change. Again, I'll just have to see how it goes when I play around with it. And then Scourge Hook Pain Resonance. Let's see here. A jack of all trades of sorts, granting both a powerful regression effect and crucial information. A loud noise notification also allows the killer to disrupt the survivors before they can continue repairing. So with that in mind, we are removing the loud noise notification. Instead of exploding, the effective generator will now spark upon losing progress, and survivors will no longer scream. We believe this will ensure Pain Resonance remains a strong regression perk while limiting its informational aspect. So now they're getting rid of the Dead Man Switch Pain Resonance combo, which I believe was the only reason why Dead Man Switch was a pretty powerful perk upon its change. I mean, still, Dead Man Switch alone can be a powerful perk, but now no longer can you use Pain Resonance with Dead Man Switch and just basically make it impossible for the survivors to finish that highly progressed generator. So I like this change. Yeah, definitely needed to happen. Dead Hard. Okay, sorry guys, I just need a breather because I've been talking for a while. Dead Hard. Dead Hard is by far the most used perk by survivors. You're damn right about that. It's easy to see why. So, there are two main ways Dead Hard is used: to dodge a hit and for distance to get a nearby pallet or window. In the latter case, there's not much a killer can do. Therefore, Dead Hard will now provide the endurance effect for 1 second when activated. If you time it right, you'll prevent the hit and gain a movement speed boost. This will remove Dead Harding for distance and make it solely used to dodge hits, which killers can anticipate and even bait accordingly. I like this change. I hated how Dead Hard was just used by survivors to get to a pallet or get to a window. I just didn't. I really hated I hated it for that reason. Not even, it's not annoying because survivors are always using Dead Hard and they're constantly dodging your hits and stuff like that. No, it's annoying because they use the perk in a way that it really isn't supposed to be or meant to be used. But they can still, they can abuse that because there's nothing, stopping them from doing that. So I like this because it separates Dead Hard from Sprint Burst a little bit more. Well, Sprint Burst is definitely meant for, getting distance, unlike Dead Hard. And Dead Hard, okay, so, sorry guys. What I'm trying to say is that Dead Hard and Sprint Burst, I'm gonna compare these two. Dead Hard was being used in the way that Sprint Burst was meant to be used, and Sprint Burst was being used in the way that Dead Hard was meant to be used. And now they're ensuring that Dead Hard is now being used in the way that they intended it to be used, and not just to gain distance because you get a quick burst of speed and stuff like that. So I really, really do like this change. Absolutely no issues with that, and it will require more skill. Because sometimes Dead Harding to dodge a hit is pretty difficult. Now you can't just randomly Dead Hard and try to get lucky. Now you have to really know what you're doing. Sorry, there was a notification that popped up. I was trying to ignore that. Decisive Strike. One of Decisive Strike's main appeals is its efficiency at preventing tunneling. In the light of an upcoming base game changes, we expect Decisive Strike to drop in usage slightly. So it says, moving forward, Decisive Strike will now deactivate once the exit gates are powered. This is good. Okay, so this makes me actually a little bit more helpful, like I was saying back with the the base game borrowed time and stuff like that. This makes me a little bit more hopeful because, like I was saying, there are niche scenarios where a killer is not one of those killers that likes to camp and tunnel all the time, but they're just trying to get a guaranteed kill because they've had a rough game and stuff like that. Now this makes me a little bit more helpful because now they can't use Decisive Strike in those endgame scenarios. So I like this. We'll also be simplifying the description of the perk. Decisive Strike will now be canceled by conspicuous actions. Okay. And also the stun duration has been reduced from 5 to 3 seconds. This was definitely needed. The same amount as head-on. I think that's still reasonable. You could still get a good amount of distance. Yeah, I like this. It takes you about a second to drop on the floor, so it gives you about 2 seconds to get distance, give or take. So I like this change. And it doesn't make it doesn't make Decisive Strike a real time waster for the killer, because 5 seconds that you're literally not able to do anything for the killer can be pretty punishing sometimes. So 3 seconds, not as bad anymore. And then there's Borrowed Time. Borrowed Time will now extend the duration of the endurance effect of unhooked scenarios by 6 to 8 to 10 seconds and increase the movement speed bonus duration by 10 seconds for your survivor you unhook. These effects will be cancelled if the unhooked survivor performs a conspicuous action. While the overall duration with Borrowed Time is longer than before, we expect that having a lighter version in the base kit will cause the usage rate to drop. I like this change as well. It sort of buffs Borrowed Time, but also dissuades you from using it just because of the overall gameplay change. So I like this. And then there's Iron Will. I remember this one. Basically, they're making Iron Will not be 100%, so you're not completely, how do you want to say it? You're not completely scot-free. They can still hear you. If they have a good headset, they're probably still going to be able to hear you, so I like this change, and it's definitely going to decrease the use of Iron Will for sure. Because if you're playing against good killer, you're going to assume they're going to be able to hear well, and that's going to probably just dissuade you from using Iron Will, so I like this. Self-care. Though self-care has a divisive reputation among the community, we're surprised to find that its usage in peaks in the high skill matches. Having a consistent, reliable way to heal at will is a powerful tool in the right hands. On top of that, self-care increases the efficiency of medkits, allowing survivors to squeeze additional heals out of them. To reduce its strength, self-care's heal speed will be lowered to 25 to 30 to 35%, and the item efficiency bonus has been removed entirely. This is a change I don't like. I think self-care actually needed to be buffed slightly, just to make the numbers a little bit, but even then I think self-care, how it was totally fine. In the right hands, it could be a strong perk, and I don't think it was overpowered necessarily. But in the wrong hands, self-cure could be a completely useless perk. In fact, it could probably get you killed. So overall, I don't like this change, and it's making it even slower. I hate that. And then, I don't really care about them removing the medkit efficiency bonus, though. That was, nobody used this perk for that reason. And, I mean, why would you run self-care, then run a medkit just for that small efficiency bonus when you could just run botany and knowledge? Unless you were making a whole build around it, there was basically no reason to do that. So I like that. I like that change. Spine Chill. This is probably the most complex change. This perk excels at alerting survivors. Okay, Spine Chill will now only activate if the killer has a clear line of sight on to the survivor, so it can't be through walls or something like that. This will remove the awkward counterplay where the killer must look away to ensure a stealthy approach. Next, we'll be adding a short 0.5 seconds lingering effect to Spine Chill. This will prevent the perk icon from flickering when the killer looks around and make the action speed boosts more consistent. I like this change as well. Spine Chill, I think, when they made this perk back at the beginning of the game, I think what they were trying to go for was not, knowing where the killer was. I think it was more for sometimes getting a little boost of speed and stuff like that. And I really do like that. Making the intended purpose, which I believe was the intended purpose, better, in making the non-intended purpose a little bit worse. So I like this change. And then finally, we'll be removing the vault speed bonus entirely, as it does not suit the perk's nature. I love this change as well. The vault speed bonus just did not need to happen. And now we are on to the buffs, non-meta perk changes. So just one more thing I have to say. I'll say it at the end of the video in my general consensus. So now on to the non-meta buffs. Here we go. Overcharge. This is probably one of my favorite changes. Along with the current effects, Overcharge will cause a kick generator regression speed to grow from 100% to 400% over the course of 30 seconds. Survivors will want to stop this generator from regressing as soon as possible. I love this change. This actually suits the name of the perk, Overcharge. And I really, really do love this change. It's definitely going to make it a lot better. I mean, it's like kind of almost, I don't know what would be better, Call of Brine or Overcharge, but it's going to be a tough competition, but I really do like this change. And they'll also be forced to go to that generator before it starts regressing a lot, and they'll have to deal with that difficult skill check, so I like that. And then Eruption. Eruption released with fairly safe numbers but upon reflection, we're comfortable with increasing them. We have upped the generator regression penalty to 10% and the duration of the incapacitated effect to 15, 20, 25 seconds. I like this. I always thought the incapacitation effect just wasn't long enough and it needed to be buffed. Not necessarily the regression penalty, but I like this change overall. No problems with that. Knockout. Those of you who like to leave survivors on the ground can have a little more peace of mind. In addition to its current effect, Knockout will cause dying survivors to crawl 50% slower for 15 seconds and reduce their recovery speed by 25%. So they just buffed the numbers, I believe, because I believe that was already the case. Although, I'm not sure about the recovery speed. I can't remember. And then Coulrophobia. I don't know. I never really cared about Knockout, but I already had a different change in mind, which I'm not going to discuss because I'm getting really tired of talking. But overall, yeah, I had a different change in mind, but this change, it's alright. Coulrophobia. To make healing in the killer's radius even more unappealing, Coulrophobia will now increase the speed of skill checks by 15% on top of its current effect. Okay, yeah, I like this change. It's really hard now that they've changed Hemorrhage to change Coulrophobia to make it better. So by adding another effect to it, I think that's about the best thing that they could do. So yeah, I like this change. Dark Devotion. This perk is great for confusing and sneaking up on survivors, but the basic attack requirement makes it unappealing for certain killers. Dark Devotion will now activate whenever the Obsession loses a health state. I love this change. Dark Devotion was not a bad perk by any means, but it's one of those perks where it can really only be used on killers that don't rely on a secondary power to damage survivors. And then Surge, I'm not going to call it Jolt because I hate these new names that they made for the Stranger Things chapter. I hate how they freaking changed the names. Surge allows the killer to regress generators simply by downing a survivor to make it more consistent and punish careless survivor plays. We have removed the cooldown. I love this. Yes. The cooldown was always annoying. I hated it. Yeah, I really do like this change. In fact, I like this even more than them just because what other people recommended is taking away the basic attack requirement, but I actually like this better than doing that. So yeah, love this change. Lethal Pursuer. I thought this perk was kind of good, but they're buffing it? Oh, okay. So you like aura reading, huh? On top of the existing effect, Lethal Pursuer will now extend the duration of all aura reading effects by 2 seconds, and then I'm assuming they're keeping the other effect that it has. I'm wondering if this increases the effect of the base aura reading that you get at the beginning of the game. We'll see. Even then, I don't think it would be anything overpowered. Thanatophobia. Another quick one. We are increasing the action speed penalty to 4.5, 5, 5.5 per survivor for a maximum of 18, 20, 22%. Thanatophobia is not necessarily a bad perk. I'm kind of confused with some of these perks that they included on here, but I'm glad they're making it better. I mean, it's not the best perk in the world, so yeah, whatever they can do. And now they're making Monstrous Shrine a Scourge hook. Wow, okay, long have we waited. Monstrous Shrine has received a rework. This perk will now convert all basement hooks to Scourge hooks. Additionally, Scourge hooks will now grant 10, 15, 20% faster entity progression, but only if the killer is not within 24 meters. Wow, I really, really do love this change. It's obviously going to work in combination with other Scourge hook perks. Yeah, I love this change. Monstrous Shrine is a perk that is one of those perks that came out in the beginning of the game that never got changed and just became pretty much useless. And now I really do love this change. Yeah, love it. Survivor perk buffs. Calm Spirit. In addition to Calm Spirit's current effects, you can now open chests and cleanse and bless totems silently, albeit at 40, 35, 30% reduced speed. Pretty good change. I think the only reason they added this was just so that they could make perk tiers, but yeah, I like this change. Saboteur, I remember this one, and basically it allows you to see Scourge hooks as well. This is actually pretty good, because sometimes survivors would preemptively sabotage Scourge hooks because they eventually figured out that it was a Scourge hook, but this perk now allows you to be able to identify which hooks are Scourge hooks earlier on in the game and be able to counter that by sabotaging, so I like this change. Botany Knowledge now increases healing speed by 30 to 40 to 50%, up from 11 to 22 to 33. I always thought the 11, 22, 33 numbers were a little bit weird, so overall, I really do like this change. Off the record, upon being unhooked, to gain the endurance status effect for 80 seconds in Tier 3. But obviously, it will be lost if you perform a conspicuous action. While this is a lengthy endurance effect, any game progression action will cancel it prematurely, making it purely for evading the killer after being unhooked. Wow! Okay, so now off the record is actually useful. Wow. Okay, I do like this one as well. Wow. Lucky Break. This perk is great for escaping a chase, but the effect quickly runs out. We're giving survivors a way to recharge Lucky Break each second spent healing another survivor increases Lucky Break's duration by 1 second. The total time cannot exceed the starting duration. I like this change. I think it was too much of a hassle to have to constantly change the numbers and figure out which number was like the best option to make it so that you can use it a couple times per game, but it's not overpowered. I like this change. It allows you to have to do something to earn back what you already used up. So I like this change overall. Pharmacy. Pharmacy used to guarantee an emergency medkit for the first time you searched a chest, which you'd either hope nobody takes before you need it or hide it far off corner like a medkit goblin. Now Pharmacy will activate whenever you're injured, guaranteeing an emergency medkit when you search a chest. This effect can happen multiple times in one trial. Good luck stealing my medkit now, Meg. I love this change. Yeah, it's basically if you can't rely on your survivors right now, or you don't want to have your survivors waste your time because you know they're doing something important, now you just find a chest and you can get a medkit every time you get injured. You know, you're basically guaranteed you're gonna be able to heal yourself. So yeah, I like that change. Soul Survivor. Soul Survivor will now, this is the one perk that definitely was in desperate need for a change. Soul Survivor will now increase your generator repair speed by 75% and your exit gate and hatch action speed by 50%. These effects are only active when you are the last survivor standing. I guess it could help in niche scenarios, but I still don't think it's going to be a really good perk. But, I guess it's kind of a, it helps if, in your situation where you might be screwed and you need a little bit of hope. So, yeah, it'll make it better than it was, that's for sure. Distortion. It says, for those who like to stay hidden, we've added a way to regain distortion tokens. Gain 1 token for every 30 seconds spent within the killer's territory. I like this. So they're making it kind of like a diversion or stakeout kind of token gaining thing. I like that. A lightweight. In addition to Lightweight's existing effects, your scratch marks will be more sporadic, making you harder to track. Your scratch marks will also fade 5 to 4 to 3 seconds sooner, up from 1 to 2 to 3. This was the change that I actually recommended myself, just because of how the numbers work with the scratch marks and everything. So yeah, this is overall good change. One more thing I would have done with it is reduce the sound that you make from running, but they did make the scratch marks more sporadic. So I think that's a good good way to change it up a little bit. Or a good alternative, I guess. Deja Vu. Deja Vu, I don't actually think is a terrible perk, but I'm glad they are giving it some love. Deja Vu will now grant a 5% repair speed bonus to the revealed generators. Good change. No One Left Behind. Beyond its current effects, No One Left Behind will grant a 7% movement speed bonus to any survivors you unhook. Additionally, the perk now activates when the gates are powered rather than opened. Honestly, this bottom perk is all they needed to do, and I would have been totally fine. But the 7% movement speed bonus? Hell, why not? And then Dark Sense. We've changed the way Dark Sense works. When a generator is powered, Dark Sense activates the next time the killer comes within 24 meters of you. Their aura is revealed for 5 to 7 to 10 seconds. Dark Sense then deactivates. I like this change. Dark Sense, it's nice sometimes to know where the killer is, but in some scenarios, if a generator gets repaired, the killer might not even be on you, so the information wasn't really too useful. So I like this change. Tenacity. In addition to the current effects, Tenacity now reduces your grunts of pain by 75% when the dying state, combined with the increased crawling speed. This perk will now be much more effective in crawling away from the killer. Good change. Hope. Hope is great for those who like to make late game saves, but the limited duration can cause it to expire on an inconvenient time. Since this perk is only useful at the end of the match, we've removed the duration entirely. Love this change, no problem with it. Now, obviously, against certain killers, this probably could get a little bit overpowered, but I'm fine with it. Overzealous, I'm happy they got this changed right away because it definitely needed changed because the numbers I just didn't think were high enough, and basically all they did was just buff the numbers, and yeah, I'm glad they did that. We're gonna live forever. Much like barbecue and chili, this perk features a massive blood point bonus. We do not want blood points to dictate which perks are used, so we have removed the blood points from We're Gonna Live Forever. This change will release at the same time as the progression overhaul, which is expected to cut the grind by about 75%, with matchmaking incentives providing an additional avenue for blood points. Additionally, actions that previously granted a token will now activate the perk's secondary effect. While active, healing a survivor from the dying state grants them the endurance status effect from 6 to 8 to 10 seconds. The secondary effect of We're Gonna Live Forever then deactivates. I like this change. I was actually hoping they would do this to buckle up instead, but now We're Gonna Live Forever is even more powerful than it was, so I kind of wish they gave that over to Buckle Up, and then you had to combine the perks to get both of the effects, just so that Buckle Up could at least be a little bit more useful. That is it for both of the game's changes. I feel like this was more of this was a lot more of Dead by Daylight than Evil Dead, of course. But what are my thoughts? A few controversial changes. All I can say is a few controversial changes. I'd have to play the game to see how much I like it. But overall, this is really great. I'm happy they're going above and beyond Dead by Daylight, and I'm happy that Evil Dead is off to a good start and that the developers are not afraid to release bigger updates. I mean, Evil Dead's first update was bigger than most of the other developer updates that Dead by Daylight gives us, and we only get those like every, 3 months? So, yeah, I really, really do like the changes to both of the games, and you can tell they're getting a little bit more ambitious because of the competition. I feel like that may be the reason, but I'm liking the competition between the both games. I'm liking the shaking up between playing the different games and stuff like that, and I'm really liking the little competition going on. So overall, that was a long one, but yeah, those are my final thoughts, and that's it. Alright, oh my god. So, yeah, stay tuned for those future tier lists. Read the community post to stay updated. Join the Discord, link is in the About section. And that's it. Like and subscribe, guys, and I'll see you next time.